tried filming 2 little interviews on my GoPro now, and both times it's shut off on me because it says the camera's too hot. And I'm even standing in the shade now, but that tells you how hot it is out here today. It's already in the mid-90s, and it's not even noon yet. It's the end of June, the last weekend in June. We wait to get the majority of our cameras out until the beginning of July, and obviously we're still following suit with that. I'm just getting a little antsy, I'll just be honest. And so I'm on this new little permission piece that we picked up last year, the little draw farm, or I don't know what we're gonna call it, to be honest. But it's just a small little piece of permission that we just got permission on right before season started last year, really. And so last year we didn't run cameras over here in the summertime. I'm totally going in blind for this summer, and I'm just gonna try out a couple spots. This was one of the first places we put a camera on this property, and it was one of the best for sure. Every mature buck that we got pictures of on this property came right by this camera spot. This is easy to get into, it's easy to get out of. There's not gonna be a lot of intrusion here. We're on the edge of this cornfield, so I thought, why not give it a shot as a summer camera setup. We're still a touch early. There's not gonna be a lot of growth on most of the bucks. You may have a couple outliers that started growing a little bit earlier, you know, than the rest of the bucks, but I'm gonna let this camera soak for a while, probably before we come to check it. I hate the heat, I hate the humidity, but July is one of my favorite times of the year because you can really start to see what these bucks are gonna look like and what they're turning into. Anyway, I'm gonna sneak out of here because I'm kind of close to this bedding area. I've already been here too long. First camera deployed for summer velvet. I'm freaking pumped. It's Saturday, July 8th, and I'm back out in the Whitetail woods. It's like 68, 66, 68 degrees out here today, so it's absolutely beautiful. North wind, so it's perfect to come in here. I'm actually on a different tiny little piece of new permission that I picked up last year, and I'm still struggling on a name for this piece. I've got to come up with a name for all these different pieces that we're getting permission on, just to kind of keep them straight. But right now we just got the home farm, and we got that little draw farm that I really don't know if that's what I'm going to call it yet. And then I've got this property. One of my big goals this year is to try to capitalize on a buck on this property, just because I mean it's going to be very, very, very difficult to get a buck down with a bow on this property. I got permission on this piece last year. It was my first year hunting it, and I really didn't spend a whole lot of time here. I hunted it one time, I think in early October, just more of an observation sit more than anything. And then I hunted it in late season, and I had a bunch of really good sits in late season, but you know, mainly I was watching deer from 300 yards away, and just sitting back and trying to figure out how I could work my way into bow range on one of these bucks. But it's so hard to pinpoint where they're going to be bedding on this property, especially at that time of year. So anyway, I think my best shot at a buck on this property is going to be early season or during the rut, to be honest with you. Thinking back to what I had pictures of on this property last year, there's 5 or 6 different bucks that I can think of off the top of my head that, if they're still alive and if they're still around and still utilizing this property this year, are definitely going to be bucks that I would target. This was one of my best camera spots on this property last year, and so I have no reason to believe it wouldn't be the same this year. And I'm hoping to get some good inventory off of this camera. And a few years ago, we started doing these mock scrapes even in July, and even though I go ahead and paw the ground and get that set up for the fall, mainly what I like to do is find a spot that's good for a scrape later in the fall, where they will be eventually pawing at the ground, but a spot that's got a really good overhanging licking branches, just like this spot. I like to go ahead and kind of tear those up a little bit and pull them down, so the deer will hit those. They'll just be like right in front of their face. It seems to be something that, as you get closer to fall, these bucks just cannot resist it if you've got it on the edge of a field or if you got it on a big trail. And if you put those licking branches right where it's going to be right in their faces, basically, when they're walking by it, they almost can't resist it. They will hit these licking branches year round, and even the does will hit them. What I like to do in the summertime also, well, I like to do with all of our camera spots, but we like to set them up to where we're not just focused on one thing, we're focused on several different things. Even in the summertime, it's not just geared towards, it's not just looking right at a field edge or something, or right at a trail. It's looking at a trail, on a field edge, over a mock scrape. We try to bring several things together to kind of, I don't know, sweeten up that camera spot, I guess. I'm going to cut a little bit more with my saw just to knock back some of this grass so it's a little bit more open here, so I can get any deer that are coming down the edge of this field. And then get this camera set and go to the next one and get it set up, and then back out of here. Last year, this was a spot that I wanted to try a camera. There's a massive trail right there that runs almost the length of the whole draw. It comes right out into this open little inside corner before you get into the bean field. And then back here, there's another huge trail that comes from the other side of the draw, which is the corn side this year. They both go right past this walnut tree, and this is actually a tree just like that hackberry I just hung that camera on back there, that if I wanted to, I could hang in this. I'm not going to get very high, but I don't care about getting high. We don't need to get very high if the tree's in the right spot. Both these huge trails come out into this open little inside corner before they go into the beans. And last year there was a couple huge scrapes right here in this little horseshoe. And this walnut has a couple nice limbs that are going way out there. And just like the last one, I'm going to make a mock scrape, pull a couple of those branches down as licking branches that are right in front of their face when they come out of this trail or this trail. I'm going to open all this up so you can get a nice, good photo. Out here, this will all be nice and open. If there are any deer that are, you know, not coming through here and they're just walking the edge of the beans down this hill or something, you're going to be able to get them with this camera here.